Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to tell you about this podcast. It's called The DK Project, but it's really The Darren Show. The DK Project is a radio show, but without the radio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
Let's go!
Today's episode is brought to you by the Lost Lake Creamery, located in Mound in the Harbor District. If you're on the bike, it's off the Dakota Trail. If you're in the boat, it's on the north end of Cooks Bay. Just look for the Lost Lake Channel. Plenty of parking provided by the city. If you're by car, 5575 Shoreline Drive. Stop in, 24 flavors of hard scooped ice cream, old-fashioned ice cream parlor. We're open for the season. Noon to 9 on the weekends, 2 to 9 during the week. Make sure to stop in and see us. Welcome back to the DK Project. Episode 153. Rounding the corner. It is actually sunny and warm out, which is great when you own an ice cream store. Anyway, zooming in with us today, Mr. Spike Spencer. Now, here's the caveat to this deal. This guy does maybe one or two more things than I do. A lot of them parallel. But he's on the other side of the world. This is our furthest reaching guest to date. Good day, mate.
I'm extraordinary. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing very well, and I'm 5 o'clock Central. What I see you're drinking coffee. Are you in the morning?
It is 8 a.m. tomorrow for you. So your future looks fabulous. Just telling you.
I'm telling you. So we talked a little bit before we got on air. Now, are you down there surfing? What drew you down there?
Well, first of all, I don't surf because I don't like sharks. So I stay out of their living room. They stay out of mine. But no, I was appearing at Supernova, which is a great convention in Australia. And I've been down here before. But came down and they do two cities. So they do Melbourne and then we did the Gold Coast, which is just south of Brisbane. It's beautiful, by the way. And so we pulled into the Gold Coast the second half of the run, and it was the day Tom Hanks said he had COVID, and he was about 2 blocks away from us because he's filming on the Gold Coast. There's a new Elvis biopic. And so he was here, and then the world went topsy-turvy. And we were like, you know what? We'll just wait here for a little bit. It'll die down. It'll be fine in a couple of months. We'll be okay. So we packed for 3 weeks, and we've been here over a year.
So, did you rent an apartment, or are you just like extended stay?
Well, originally we did Airbnbs for about 9 months, and then we decided, well, you have to extend your visa, which costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry. Hi, Australia. Where the hell am I going to go? But they're like, nah, sorry, mate. You've got to extend your visa. Here you go. Right. And I'm like, well, crap. So we decided instead of extending the visa and then doing it again in 3 months to see if we can get a student visa. And so I enrolled in culinary school.
Nice.
So I am training to be a chef now, which I love food. And you probably noticed I wrote a food book, a dating cookbook called Food Game, A Man's Ultimate Recipe.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So it's an easy little side shift. So now I go to culinary school and we're waiting for our student visa, which allows us to stay here for a couple of years, which is awesome because it's great.
So, but how do you just disconnect from here? Because you were living in America, right?
Uh-huh.
And you just disconnect and you're just going to come back in a couple of years? Like, is all your stuff still here?
Yeah, kind of. It's interesting how I train and coach and I discuss manifestation and subconscious, et cetera, et cetera. And I tell people, look, dude, we manifested all this. It was perfect the way everything hit. We had no idea what was going to happen. Australia was not on our radar.
Right.
But traveling the world is. I mean, I've been to many, many places all over. But we want to live our life this way. And we don't have to disconnect anymore. Hi, how are you?
Wow.
We're on.
Yeah, right.
It's right down the street. I still work with Burbank. I still work with Hollywood. I still work with anybody elsewhere. It doesn't matter because I'm a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection away.
Yeah.
And I've just done some big projects in Hollywood. from a closet. So
that's
just
awesome.
like I would in Burbank.
I know. I work with a coach in the voiceover world who lives over in Europe, and you would never know. You'd never know because as long as you manage the time thing, okay. Nowadays with what's happened, it's really accelerated everyone's use of Zoom and whatever, Google Duo or whatever you use. But it's really, and I think really the one that got squashed on this whole deal is, what's the other one? Nobody ever uses it. It's all Zoom. Now I'm drawing a blank.
Well, see, I use StreamYard for all my stuff.
StreamYard, yes.
StreamYard.
But there was one that was everywhere before Zoom, and it was like the big thing, and I can't even think of what it was. I think I've used it once. What is it?
Skype?
Yeah, Skype. Yeah, Skype just took it in the shorts on this deal. Like, nobody uses that.
Skype sucks because that's why. Because I think Microsoft bought it or something, and it just got hard to use. And I was like, because I was using it all the time. I still do use it sometimes with the studios. They'll do Skype on one side and then Source Connect on another, or Dub thing or whatever. Just so we can. It's just easier to deal with, and that's fine. But man, Skype, Microsoft did what they always do, apparently.
So now tell us a little bit. I was out exploring SpikeSpencer.com, and when you meet someone and they say, "Hey, what do you do?" What do you tell them? Because your business card's about as thick as mine. Yeah,
I say I talk goofy for a living.
There you go. So was that your primary deal? Was voice acting out of the gate? It sounds like you did a lot of real estate investing. So
I have a very diverse world. So I'm an actor. Let's say that. Okay.
All right.
Now, I haven't said I'm an actor in years, but let's start off. 1984, I went to drama class in high school because I wanted to be a lawyer, and I knew you had to get up in front of people and speak.
Nice.
I want to be a lawyer because that's where the money is.
Bingo.
And I got the lead role in the first thing I've ever auditioned for, and did the run, the night we did it, the curtains went down, applause went up. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
You're in.
I like this. So I studied straight on through. Excuse me.
I'm
a voice actor. So I did that all the way through high school, and then I said, I'm going pro, and I went to college, majored in drama. And for everybody out there, I want you to know, I have a baccalaureate degree from the honors program from the University of Houston, majoring in drama.
Hello.
And nobody cares.
Is that the phone ringing?
Nobody cares. So that sets the scene. So I'm an actor in Houston, Texas. And as an actor in Houston, Texas, you go everywhere. You drive to Dallas for an audition. You drive to New Orleans for an audition. You drive to Austin. You're working anywhere and everywhere that you can. And you do everything. Okay. Well-rounded. You're doing industrial films, commercials, TV, radio, blah, blah, blah. I was doing a film and I got introduced to Amanda Wynn Lee. And she said, you do all these fun voices. You should come do dub anime. I'm like, what's that? And she's like, well, it's Japanese animation. I'm like, cartoons? She says, not really. Does it pay? She said, yes. I said, I'm there.
When was that? And, what year was that?
92?
Because I feel like this anime thing is really taken off, and I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it. But I know I got a 15-year-old.
Yeah, I started it out with Speed Racer. I grew up on that. So that was anime. Right. And I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So it is a style, and it got real popular. And so that was another thing I added to my bag, right?
Right.
So now I'm doing voiceover, et cetera, et cetera. So fast forward, while I'm doing acting, I want to make money. So I'm like, I figured I'll flip houses because I heard one of those guys on the radio. That's right. You can make money. You can do real estate with no risk, no credit check, no money, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I've got all of those. So,
exactly.
And I looked into it and I learned and trained, and it's all true.
Did you take the seminar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I took the seminar and then I put it into practice. Now, most people stop, and this goes into some of the coaching that I do. 99% of everybody who ever goes to one of those seminars or anything like that, they do nothing. 99%.
Yeah, I believe that.
I was the 1%.
There
but
you
it
go.
took 3 months of hard ass work before I even got one deal. Everything went wrong on that deal. Everything could possibly go wrong went wrong on that deal, and I still made money. So I was like, thank God.
Yeah,
and
right.
then I went for 10 years, I flipped houses in Houston. So I had the money. I was doing films. Things were going well. In 2005 or so, 2002, things started to get sketchy. Bought a big house in Kingwood, Texas, which is northeast side of Houston. Where are you located, by the way?
I'm in Minneapolis.
Okay, Minneapolis. I love Minneapolis.
Minnesota.
Yeah, woofda.
Yeah. You betcha.
So we moved into a big house. I was doing real estate, had about 15 properties, and things were looking good on the film side. I had like 5 films in the last couple of years. I was just finished up 5 weeks in New Orleans working with Frank Langella on a Disney film, which was awesome because every night we ended at 5 and I went and tried another restaurant. Oh, yeah.
And that was acting?
Uh-huh. That was a film. It was a Disney film. And and then a nice food every night. I mean, I'm living the dream. I'm acting by day and eating fabulous food at night.
This is what it's supposed to be.
That's exactly it. But back home, things weren't so good. So after all of that was going on, things started getting rough in the business side, and my marriage at the time was having some issues. And it all came to a head in 2005 when I found out that my wife was having an affair with my best friend. And right in the shorts. Yeah. So that hurts. And I found him, busted him, filed for divorce the next day. When my mind's made up, it's made up.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, I discuss boundaries in my coaching, people. Get the book.
SpikeSpencer.com.
I'm going to do B, biatch. And so I did. And in 2005, everything changed. In 2 months, I lost 30 pounds. I call it the Disparatrim diet. I don't recommend it, but it is effective. and that and hate lifting weights, man.
Oh yeah, a little anger workout. Yeah.
Oh man, that was some therapy. I moved to Los Angeles, lost everything, divorce, bankruptcy, lost the house, lost the business, lost literally everything. And started over, went to LA and lived in an apartment for about 8 years that was the size of my old living room and cost more than my mortgage. I was going to
say it probably cost more.
Yeah, it cost more than my mortgage on a 4,000 square foot house with a dojo and a pub in Texas.
Telling you, a dojo and a pub. Boy, a hard combination to find.
It was a house of my dreams, right? So long story medium, I moved, started over. And then I found out, this again goes back to the manifestation. I just sat down and said, what do I really want to do? I said, I want to travel the world. I want to have fun. I want to eat good food. I want to live, and literally a few days later, I'm sitting there with Amanda because she moved to LA further on. So she's been like my sister from another mister for 25 years. And she says, you're kind of famous, right? I'm like, I had no idea. I'm like, what? I'm famous. She goes, yeah, you can go to conventions because there's anime conventions and comic conventions and stuff like that with all of your voice work. They'd love to have you. So I started investigating that, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah. And I started going just ballistic. Within two to 3 years, I was going all over the world, appearing at conventions and signing autographs and partying like a freaking nut.
Do they pay pretty decent for that?
It depends on how you do it. That's more of the business side of it. Yes and no. But let's put it that way. At the beginning, no. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I'm just like, yay! I was a character from Fraggle Rock. Dude, I'm just like, yeah! And I'm like, I'm going to London. I'm going to Australia, New Zealand, Canada. Yay! And I just went all over the world. One year I did 8 countries and 25 cities. And it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
still single?
It was crazy. Yeah.
Hey.
Why do you think I was teaching my book? I was doing field research, baby. So it was great.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, if you read the book, you'll hear about it. But I mean, I've dated a Jedi, a Playmate,
of course
even
you
a
have.
Terminator for a minute, for about a half a minute. But anyway, here's the I guess to round it all up, I moved to LA and been there the last 15 years. And just building, it just seems that voiceover was what kept hitting. Nobody cared on camera. I'm like going, hi, I've been in scenes one-on-one with 4 Academy Award nominees. 2 of them won. And Hollywood said, sit down, son. We don't care. Hey,
It really is more of in that industry, it's really more of a who you know than what you know. Is that maybe accurate?
Yes and no. And that I have a coaching thing for that. Everyone says that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I said that you're missing one ingredient. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's who knows you when you're not in the room.
Okay.
AKA cheerleaders, which I was in high school, by the way.
Hey now.
That's right.
Natural theatrical.
That's it. So, in LA, like anywhere else, it's relationships. You have to build those relationships. I get 90% of all my work myself. Always have. And it's funny because anime, and I'm not an anime guy, but I'm known for anime because I've voiced like the most well-known anime character of all time, according to several lists, Shinji in Evangelion. I've been the voice of him for 25 years up until Netflix, redubbed and redid everything. And then the 4th one on the rebuild is coming out. It just came out in Japan and broke like all kinds of freaking records. So
really?
Who knows? I don't know if I'm going to get it or not, but I'd love to round it out and do the voice one more time, at least.
So they do it over there and release it, and then they translate it for you, and then you do it here?
Yeah. I mean, the companies, whoever gets the product, whatever it is, it could be Funimation, it could be Netflix, it could be anybody. I don't know. And they get the rights to it, and then they have their translators translate it all and then dub it. Whether it's in Houston or Dallas or LA, New York, Vancouver, whatever.
Right.
So us as voice actors, we're the last people to know. Somebody's going to call you and say, hey, we'd love to have you, do this voice. And it's like, oh, and by the way, let me just throw this out there. Hey guys, I'm not hard to find. Google me.
SpikeSpencer.com.
Hey. How about that? There you go.
I love it. So when you say that you're the main dude in that particular anime, how, is that like a 5-year gig? Is that a 10-year gig? Is that like a couple months?
No, here's the weird part. So it's been 25 years, but what that means is I did the 26 episodes back in 94, I think was when it happened. Then there were 3 subsequent movies after that. And that was it. Nothing happened for many years. Then the guy who developed it, Ano, he decided he was going to do a remake of the whole thing, and he was going to do 4 movies.
Wow.
So then they did 1, 2, and 3, and that was actually done in Dallas. So I was in LA, and they flew me to Dallas, and I would do that. So it was like literally 1 day in the studio, 1 to 2 days in the studio, and that was it. And then go back home. No residuals. Anime is the hardest voiceover job in the business, and it pays the least, by the way, just so you guys know.
What a sales pitch.
Yeah, it's awful. But it's fun to do.
Yeah.
And then you get it done and then you move on. So, but anyway, so that's what happened. And so it's been over the course of 25 years from 1994 to now. And if I get 4, then awesome. Then I don't know how many years that is. We're going up to 30, right?
Right.
And I have no problem with that. I mean, but it's great, but it's not like a lot of money or anything like that, which is funny because people are like going, so you're doing pretty good, huh? It's like, no, I dubbed. I was not the original voice.
Yeah, right.
It's like the guy who dubs Bart Simpson in Venezuela. It's like, oh, you must be really wealthy. No, I'm eating a cat.
What about, so what other characters, do you just do anime? You do anything, don't you?
I do anything. I mean, well, like actors, like I said, we do any and everything, but Hollywood likes to pigeonhole you and say, so what do you do? I'm like, well, I'm an actor. Okay. So what have you done? Oh, I did a video game. Oh, you're a video game guy. Yeah. No. I've done these things. I just thought you might know that one. I've also done some anime. Oh, you're an anime guy. Yeah. No. I do all kinds of things. I mean, I'm classically trained. I could be on stage right now, but that just is what I'm like known for. So I'm kind of leaning into that. Would I like to be on camera again? Kind of. I mean, it's okay. I don't like the audition process. I know. And that's like one of those things where it's like, nobody likes to audition, but that's the lifeblood of what you do. I'm like, yeah, kind of, but you don't have to.
Well, what about, when you go to these Comic-Cons and this kind of stuff for the anime piece, what's the reaction when people meet you? Like, because I know I did a interview with a couple folks who do like erotic narration, and they go around to these things and they have like a following, like autographs and people searching them out. Is that what you find when you go to these things? Like, are there people looking for you?
Oh yeah. It's interesting because sometimes, depending on what you've done, you might have a line around the corner of people wanting to come and sign autographs. That doesn't happen to me all that often, but every now and then it's like, hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah. But, you come to you sit down at your table and there's gonna be 20, 30 people in line waiting to come see you. And you just go, hi, how are you doing? And you talk to them for a minute and you sign the autograph and off you go. I mean, it's amazing. You get to see these people like, wow, you like what I do. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm waiting. It's in my future. I'm going to have that. Yeah, I'll be the guy absolutely. At the table with nobody there, just the sounds of crickets in the background.
Dude, I've been that guy too.
It's humbling.
I did one. I got this great picture in London. So there's a guy named Vic Mignogna. You might have heard of him. He's like really big at conventions and he's been in voiceover and all. He's had some issues in the past that were kind of vaunted him up into the headlights, and now he's kind of disappeared for a while. But at the time he was very, very popular, and he always has been. And we were both in London, and they set us up at tables right next to each other. And everybody, and it was very British. So everybody's like, so the line starts in front of him. And so everybody lines up in front of him. And I was like, and then they would come over to me, but it looked like, I'm sitting there by myself and he's got this line out the freaking door. And I just thought that was funny. So I had my friend go to the back of the line and take a picture, and he's sitting there. I'm going,
the life of a anime character.
Yeah. And it was really funny because they would all come over to me and it's like, oh, how are you? I'm like, you guys can come over here too. And it's like, you know what, whatever.
Two separate lines.
Like, what do you get? No, I'm sorry. This is the queue and we're going to stand right behind each other.
they were all just being polite and staying in line. What,
exactly.
How often are you out on the road doing public speaking events?
It's really combined. Well, now
we have like a pandemic. We have a little asterisk.
Yeah, I'm currently still appearing at my last convention. So haven't really done any of that lately. But it just depends on where I'm going and what I'm doing. But I've made it to where my public speaking is at the conventions. And so I'm doing it's not motivation, but it's a coaching, and it's a more of a, like I say, the mind scrambling. The Mind Scrambler podcast is all about shifting the things and the stories inside your brain to where you are in charge rather than being at the whim of everything, like that plastic bag floating in the wind.
Right, right.
Speaking of, hold on a second. Guess what? We have a special guest.
There we go. Hi, buddy.
Hi. This is my boy, Declan.
Declan, doesn't he have school today?
No, he is in pre-kindy. So he goes to school on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, which is the day that I go to school as well. And then he goes on Friday.
You guys take the bus together then?
No. It's so amazing here. We've got we live in a high rise, right? So we've got if you look at the Gold Coast, it's like kind of like looks like Miami, only better weather. And in this building that we're living in, there is a really advanced, forward-thinking preschool on level 2.
What?
And so we just drop them off right there. And then there's a tram line out here on the Gold Coast that runs up and down. And I just hop on the tram and go to my school, which is 5 stops down. It's pretty amazing.
Man, you are living the dream.
I told you, we
the idea
manifested.
of just,
we got plopped right where we needed to be.
I'm telling you, I'm so jealous. I've been talking with I got a 15-year-old that we're waiting to get out of high school so that I can go somewhere in the winter. But you're just pick it up and move it, man. I love that idea. Just forward the mail and call it good.
It wasn't exactly the idea, but everything fell into place precisely as we wanted it.
Yeah.
But that's that thing where you go and get that universal thing where it's like, what do you really want? Well, your subconscious knows what you really want already. And it's already putting it out there if you want to go out and the frequency, vibration, and all that kind of stuff, which is, by the way, it sounds woo-woo, but it's being proven by science, which is kind of cool because I'm all about the prove it,
Yeah.
I'm not like that. Hey man, give me a crystal. Let me just rub it against my temple. I'll be fine. That's not me, but I'm like, if you show me, it's like, yes, this crystal, here's what it's doing to your brain, and it's making this happen here and blah, blah, blah. Then I'm like, cool. All right. I get it. I understand it.
So is that a snippet of what we're going to hear in the Mind Scrambler, the podcast?
Yeah.
So is
absolutely.
that really like, I don't want to say like positive affirmations, but like a positive thinking reinforcement kind of a thing?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. I have one. I think I did one. If I haven't, I'm going to be doing a podcast that positive thinking is BS, because if it's not backed up by the feeling, yes, I have done one on this. There's a whole lot of people saying positive affirmations and getting nowhere. It's because your heart doesn't believe it. If your heart doesn't believe it, it isn't going to work, period. So you got to I'm still trying to work on a better way of putting it, but I call it like the intentional stair step. If you say, I'm a millionaire, that fake it till you make it BS.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I'm a millionaire. And that's the whole time your heart's going, bullshit. It's like, so that is disconnected.
Sure.
It doesn't work. But if you say, well, I want to be a millionaire, your heart may go, yeah, okay, cool. I get that. Or if you say, I'm willing to become the person that can be a millionaire, you're like, oh, your heart's going, yeah. Okay, we're getting closer.
Right.
That sort of thing. And once you get to there, then you can start build it up from there. But most people could jump right to the top, and then it doesn't work. And then they're like, that stuff doesn't work. I'm like, I know, because you did it wrong.
That's dumb. What about, so does the speaking and the podcast kind of go together then, eh?
Absolutely. So what I've done, there's a talk that I give right now at conventions, and that's mainly where I do my talks is at conventions, but I've done it for corporates. I do it anywhere. But there's one in particular that I'm really proud of. It's called The Reluctant Hero's Journey. And it's based on, obviously, the hero's journey. We all understand that. And the reluctant hero is maybe not that person who doesn't want to be a hero per se, but maybe just the hero of his own life. It's like, hey, I don't want to go out and save the freaking world. I just want to have a wonderful life and be happy and strong and help other people and be something where I can help other people, where I can provide, where I can give comfort, because you can't give comfort to other people if you're feeling like crap.
Yeah.
Hard to do. So I talk about the reluctant hero's journey, and I go into all of these tips, tricks, trainings, and techniques that can help. I mean, I've only got about an hour, so I just got a big realm. But in coaching, for example, I'm an NLP certified coach. I'm a bank code certified personality trainer. I've studied with Brendon Burchard, a little bit with Tony Robbins. I mean, lots of trainers, lots of coaches, some of the best coaches in the world.
Yeah,
we have worked with. My wife is way further than me. So we do have the toolbox. Plus, in relationships, which my jam is relationships, communication and connection. That's my jam. And that's where I have my own personal story, the whole food game, the whole dating and starting over from being at ground zero. Actually, I was about $1.50 below ground zero. And then I, shot up and I ended up marrying an amazing, phenomenal woman in the other room there.
So,
and traveling the world.
Tell me a little bit about the food game. A man's ultimate recipe for dating success. This is your book.
Heck yeah. This is my book.
When did this come out? All right, gang, time to talk a little restoration. If you've been hit by fire, flooding, wind, hail, some kind of storm damage, give Grady Restoration a call. These guys are experts in the field of restoring, dealing with insurance companies, getting the project done. You want to deal with a top shelf contractor who you know you can trust, who's going to show up and get the job done, not leave you with loose ends, extra bills. They're going to take care of everything. It's the crock pot of construction. Set it and forget it. They'll deal with the insurance company, the payments, everything will be handled. It'll be back to new before you know it. If you've been curious whether you have some damage or not, give them a call. They'll come out, complimentary consultation. They'll look at it and tell you if it's an insurance loss or not. Give them a call, 952-472-1570, or look them up on the web at GradyRestoration.com. Don't forget to tell them you heard about it on the project. Time to talk a little tech, something you may not be familiar with, but need to be. ExpressVPN. Did you know that sending unencrypted data is like sending a postcard through the mail? Everyone can see it. ExpressVPN protects you from hackers who try to steal your private information. ExpressVPN also gives you unrestricted access to all parts of the internet. This especially applies to those of us here in Minnesota, where Fox Sports North has decided not to work with anyone, so you can't get your favorite games on your TV. ExpressVPN allows you to reroute your connection to a server in a country of your choice, making geo-restrictions a thing of the past. ExpressVPN is offering my listeners 3 extra months when you sign up for a 12-month package. Go to expressvpn/The DK Project and click on the limited time offer for DK Project listeners. Start watching all the programming you want and unleashing stuff you didn't even know was out there. Netflix in other countries, Spotify in other countries, prices are different. What they're showing is different. Check it out. expressvpn/The DK Project.
Hello.
You're back. I was just putting the Google on the Australian Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Is the weather perfect?
Perfect. It is absolutely amazing. It has been. We're going into to winter here.
Yeah.
And we may have to wear a light jacket. You know, it's great in the mornings and the evenings. You might want to wear a little bit of a coat, but that's about it. It's kind of like California, but California can get really cold and kind of wet and real super hot in the summer. Now it gets super hot here, but the crazy thing about Australia that I found is it can be that sun is blistering hot, hotter than California. I don't care what anybody says. It is hot, right? But you step under a tree, it's like 20 degrees difference.
Really?
It's amazing. It can be smoking hot out there. And you step under a tree and be like, well, this is kind of nice.
What's the, I like to call it the cuckoo bird factor. I was just out in LA and not a huge fan. Yeah. How are the people there? Are you like?
It's so interesting. The people are amazing. Okay, we have made incredible friends, people that we adore here, and they're from all over the world. That's what's interesting, at least here for sure. Because this is like a tourist destination. So there are people from everywhere. You walk down through the mall here and you're going to hear 5 different languages from all over. It's an interesting culture. I'm still trying to pinpoint it all out, but it's like they're very, as I would say, blueprint. They're very follow the rules. Whenever you need to do something, you got to follow the rules. It's like A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, really?
But at the same time, they're all about, fuck it, no worries.
Really?
But you got to follow the rules. But if you don't follow the rules, then it's like, whatever. Except like, for example, you'll hear 2 different, kind of the same as in the U.S. It was like Melbourne, they were shutting it down. And a lot of people were like, no, I'm not wearing a fucking mask and blah, blah, blah. And they wanted freedom and everything. But it was interesting. It's not quite the same because the other ones are like going, we just do what we're told. You know, we do what we're told. And I'm like, hi, I'm from Texas. I ain't doing what I'm told.
Right. Wow.
We'll talk about it. And if I agree with you, then maybe I will. But if not, I will do what I want to do.
Wow. So do you think you'll stay?
Well, we're going to stay here for as long as our visa lasts, which is probably about 2 years. And like I said, my wife's going to have a baby next month. And so we'll be here. We've got an apartment. So I said, we did Airbnb for about 9 months and then we got an apartment. It was a little difficult, but you know what? The Airbnbs were freaking cheaper.
Really?
Yeah, they were. Now that you got bills to pay, it's like, oh, damn.
So will your unborn child will be an Australian citizen then? No?
Nope.
Oh, they don't give you the free pass
not
like
the
US?
States. No, that's not how it works down here. So yeah, it's not like the US, which something they might want to look into. But that's just the way it was. And so what we're going to do, our plan is to be here, and then maybe when we're done here, go to New Zealand for a year to then who knows, Spain, Portugal, Ireland. We do want to go back to Texas. I think we're going to homestead in Texas, in the wine country.
Of course. Since
I'm born and raised in Texas, I love it. And up there's an up and coming wine scene there up in like Fredericksburg, Kerrville, outside of Austin. And it's just better weather up there. It's still freaking hot. But that's just a home base. So we have a home and some land, and then off we go, travel again.
Where's
maybe we'll go to
home
Vietnam
now?
or Thailand.
Where's all your stuff?
Yeah, because we don't have much stuff. So here's the crazy thing. I was telling you about how it all worked. When we were living, Kim and I were living in another apartment in the same building where I was. We lived together for about 7 years, and then things happened, and we decided to move in with her parents back to her home in Burbank. She's a certified Valley girl.
And boy.
So we moved in with her parents in Burbank to help with the baby, and Kim was starting her business, and I was having some troubles. And so it was like, man, business was just like,
Right.
Basically got rid of most everything we have. It's in storage. And so when this happened, we didn't have anything. We had no ties. We had no rent, nothing back home. Wow. We sold both of our cars.
So
that's it.
The most important thing to me is how long's the plane ride?
Depends on where you land. Melbourne is about 17 hours. Sydney's about 15. Brizzy is about 13.
From LA.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. So you leave on a Wednesday, you arrive on a Friday. Because of the hours. But the funny thing is, when you go from Sydney back to LA, you arrive about the time you left.
How many have you gone back and forth?
Many times.
Oh my!
I've been down here 8 times.
Wow.
I've been to every major city in Australia except for maybe Alice Springs, Cairns, and Darwin, which some people would say those are not major cities, mate.
Right.
Whatever. But I've driven all over. I've driven from Adelaide to Melbourne to Canberra to Sydney and Melbourne to Brisbane. So I've done more
speaking of
road
foreign
time than
language.
most Australians.
I don't know where any of that stuff is. It's so like out of my realm of thought that I would, if it wasn't so far, maybe. I'm holding out till I have my private jet. Then I'll probably do it. Maybe.
I like that plan. Yeah. Hold on, I've got to push back. I got to push back a meeting real quick.
No worries.
The book, Food Game. Here's how it came about. I was going to panels. I was in the middle of dating, my learning to date again back in the late 2000s, right? So, because I had lost everything, started over, had to build myself up from ground zero. Like I said, below ground zero. I had no game. I was 35 years old, and I lost everything. So I was doing a lot of work on myself because I knew I needed to. And so I was reading, I was learning, I was taking courses, I was going out and, meeting people and hitting on women badly, just terrible, just trying to figure out how to get back to who I was. And I eventually started to get there. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm feeling better. And then I'd meet somebody and I'd date somebody for a while. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm getting this down. And I just got better and better and better until there was one point. And this, I tell my students, I say, one day it's going to hit you and you go, whoa, shit, I got it. I'm good. All right. And now you've reached a plateau And you're like, okay, you're not going to go below that plateau anymore. It doesn't matter what happens to you. When you've done the work, you're bulletproof. I mean, will you hurt? Sure, but you'll hurt in a different way. You won't lose your mind and identity. If somebody breaks your heart or something, you'd be like, okay, that hurts. But now you've got all these techniques and tools and things to be stronger. That's what Food Game is about. It's about the mental and the emotional well-being, but it's also about dating. It's like, hey, how are you going to go out and date? Well, this I know works because I did it for 7 years in Los Angeles.
Ooh.
As an actor with no money.
Hey now.
And I dated a lot and had a great time. Why? Because I could cook and I could have women come to my place and they'd be like, wow, this is amazing. And then everything just dominoes fall from there. Use your imagination.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't always work. It's like the whole concept though is not about get them into your lair. No, it's about being a man that they feel safe with and giving them the respect to have that safety. It's like, hey, door's open. You want to leave? No problem. No big deal. It's all good.
Right.
No means, hands up,
Yeah, right.
Lights on, everything's good. So, that's cool. That's fine. But see, that's something that I had to learn, and I perfected it because I started saying, you know what? I get to do less, get more, spend less, and everything's good. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And it works. It works really, really well. But as I tell people, guys are like, oh, so all I got to do is cook for a woman and she'll come over? Yes and no. See, you've got to be the kind of guy that she will come over to apartment, even on a first date.
Ouch.
To be alone at your place with a man wielding a sharp cutting instrument.
Can you do that nowadays?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I could see that in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, but nowadays, damn, I don't know.
No, this was the late 2000s and 2010s.
Damn.
Yeah, that's how I met my wife.
Oh.
She came over. So it works.
Never
It's
left.
been working. It's been working for centuries. But it's all about how do you do it? How do you become that guy? That's the trick. And it just works. It works really well. And you don't even have to know how to cook. You learn like four dishes that are super simple. That's why the recipes in my book are like 5 ingredients or less. And some of them are just, hey, take all this shit, put it in a slow cooker, turn it on, cover it, leave it alone. Come back an hour before the date, stir it. Your place smells like a freaking French bistro. Get some bread, get some wine, have a good night.
I gotta check it out. I'm happily married, but I'm always interested in the thought process behind that kind of stuff because I've been off the circuit for a long time, and I think things have changed dramatically from.
Yes and no.
Yeah, right.
See, there's some basics that have never changed in the relationships. And
Yeah.
I tell people, always date your wife.
The core
Guys, always date
portion
your
of
wife.
it hasn't changed.
There's an aspect. There's a reason why my first marriage broke up, and I know what it was. And I take 100% responsibility. Whether people say, oh, that wasn't your fault because of blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't care. It was my responsibility. I take 100%.
Yeah.
Everything that happened, I manifested up to that point. Now, if that was her goal to go do whatever makes her happy, here's the big question that we ask some of our clients that they're going through this kind of stuff. It's like, if you love her, did you love that person? You say yes. Well, if you love them truly and they're not happy with you, and what would make them happy would be be with somebody else, do you love them enough to give them that? Hard question. Because then that question becomes about you. So it's like, yeah, but me, I'm going to her. Yes, but how much do you love her? Right. Would you give your life for this person? Of course. Well, then now's your chance.
Right. Well,
so it's a hard question.
There's a lot of people, and a big problem, especially here in the Minneapolis, is there's no accountability for anything anymore. Nobody wants to stand up and take credit for this or show because on one end it's going to hurt, and one end it's going to be difficult. And are you man enough or woman enough to face that because of the greater good?
Well, here's the thing.
I don't think you find it.
There's always accountability, whether you know it or not. whether it is warranted or not, because people see what you do, or they're going to blame you, or they're going to give you credit or whatever, but it's in their own mind. So somebody can do a thing, and then half of the room is going to give them credit, half the room is going to blame them, but they're going to hold them accountable in the future anyway. So it really doesn't matter. This is the point where you have to be strong enough in yourself to say, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
Make me the bad guy. Fine. Something I used to do with my real estate stuff. I'd say, look, make me the bad guy. I'm the bad cop. Just, my partner won't blah, 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 or whatever. But people, my students, they're like, I'm doing this alone. I'm like, no, you're not. You got a partner.
Yeah.
Blame your partner. Yeah, my partner says we have to hold out for another $1,000. I'm sorry.
Right.
No, okay, fine. And then they sign it and make another $1,000. Said, I just made you another $1,000.
Yeah. Classic move.
Yeah.
I've done that myself.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So then you did another book on what happens at con stays at con.
Yeah. What happens at the con stays at the con.
Is that Comic-Con?
Yep.
Now,
it's an amalgamation of all conventions and stories that I've been told, some of which I instigated, things that I was actually involved in, things I heard about, and then I take those stories and I make them into a story that is like, I make it funnier. Right. I add characters and some of it's just crazy, some of it's gritty, some of it's stupid.
So,
and
by doing
at the end of every story,
to some people outside of that world, right?
Yeah, even people outside of the world will enjoy it. I mean, because it's crazy. Some of the stuff is real, and one of them that is real is Dances with Pornstars, and that was me at Eddie Van Halen's house, and it was because I was at a con in Lancaster, California, and another voice actor said, "Hey, you want to go to party in the city at Eddie Van Halen's house?" I'm like, yeah. And it was a porn star party. So he had apparently spent some money and helped a friend fund a porn. So it was just porn stars everywhere, and he was up on stage playing at his house, and there was a water slide, and I went up the water slide, and it's just crazy. It was crazy. There are pictures.
Oh, you know what?
Not in the book, though.
I would think at that point you would look at yourself and go, "Oh, now I've made it. Like now this is the deal."
That was like my second convention.
That's when you were hooked, huh?
That was 2005 or 2006 when I had just moved and I was still a mess. My hair was down to here. I was drinking my ass off. I went full Irish. I mean, it was crazy.
So you fit right in at an Eddie Van Halen party then.
No, it was great.
Wow. Well,
it was fun.
I speak from experience. I have a daughter who's now in college, but she was a dancer her whole life. And ever since she was like 3 or 5, I don't know. But I'd go to these dance conventions, and there was one that overlapped with the Comic-Con. So you'd go to the dance competition as a spectator, and then you'd see these people walking around, and you're just like, I know there's crazy stories coming out of that. Like that, it's just a different world. There's some different stuff going on there. So I'm checking that book out. I'm thinking that with a little bit of embellishment, you could really have a sweet book there, which I'm sure you do. I'm going to check it out.
I do. It's funny because here's the reason the books, that was actually my second book. My first book was How to Be a Freaking Genius Voice Actor. Food Game's my third. Man. And I'm retooling the voice actor thing to maybe, because what I did was I wrote them and then I put them on an audio CD. So I did audiobook, and I would sell these at conventions. And I had a CD that I could open up and say, enjoy, here you go, boom, and get paid for that. And so I've sold thousands of these. So as an author, I am a successful author because I've done that. But it was weird because I don't have the voice book because nobody has CDs anymore for computers and whatnot. So I've got to figure out a way to make that work and to sell at conventions and such. But
so is there a written version of it?
Yes, but it's not. I haven't put it into an actual book form, and I want to redo it, retool it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I will be doing that one. I'll be putting that one out. I have to focus because like you, I've got 25 different things going on. Plus it's like, oh, bye, got to go to culinary school.
You know what though? I'm telling you, we're living parallel life. I would go to culinary school. I love that idea. I don't have the time. I don't know how you have the time, but if I were to have to go, that's where I'm going is culinary school. Hell yeah. That would be.
Well, the whole dynamic shifted, obviously, being here in Australia.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I going to do? Well, I don't have to go to the studios all the time, although I do have a studio that I go to, which I'm going to on Saturday to record a big thing. But that's he comes, picks me up, and we go over there, and we go to his studio, which is in a closet, by the way. And we record this big title, right? And it's fine. It all works. It sounds good. Everybody's happy. I'm like, cool. I've got an engineer. I get to make him some money. And, but mostly it's here. I'm here. My coaching is here. So I don't have to leave the apartment. If I don't want to, I audition in there, or I go in there and I do some gigs, or I'm here, or I'm writing something, or I'm working on something, or I do my podcast in there, whatever.
Wow. Outstanding, man. You've got a lot going on. I'm always impressed when somebody has a few more things going on than I do, because I pull my hair out regularly, and a lot of them are similar.
Something that I do. That's something that I do as well.
There we go. Get out of there. There we go.
Who's that? I heard that. As you can see, I pull my hair out regularly too, mostly in a straight up fashion. But it can get overwhelming, and it really has to come down to, okay, what's going to make you money first?
Yeah.
And the only thing that I got going on right now with that is voiceover gigs.
Right. And,
possibly con appearances, which I'm going to be doing in 2 weeks. I'm going to Melbourne for a con. Then I've got Sydney, then I got Perth, which is awesome because Australia is shut down, guys. So international guests are not coming. So I get to appear at every convention in this country.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And are they masked up and quarantining? And no, just let it ride. It's the flu.
Dude, check this out. So Queensland, this is again, we went to we got, quote unquote, stuck in one of the safest places on the planet. Queensland had cases in the few thousands. I mean, it was nothing. And they shut the borders to Sydney and Melbourne and all that, because Sydney and Melbourne kind of went crazy for a little while, which was nothing like LA.
Right.
And the whole time we've been here this past year, no masks. They shut down restaurants and things, but there were no masks. I saw a few people walking around with masks until like literally last month. They had a bit of a spike in Brisbane, which was, I think, 12 cases.
Wow. So they mandated masks for about 2 weeks. So they got it under control by shutting the borders down,
Yes, no, maybe. I mean, I don't know about all of that, but I just know it was like, this has been great. This has been exactly where we needed to be. We can talk about all about the masks and vaccines, all that junk, but I'm not going to get into that stuff.
Yeah, no.
But I just know what I see, and it has been great here. It has been wonderful, and like I said, we manifested this.
So you got there just in time before,
because I was doing a lot of work before this.
That's awesome. Well, Spike Spencer, you've been a great guest. Everybody can check you out at spikespencer.com, where everything is. Link to the podcast, the books, the speaking.
My Spike store.
That's my favorite part. I'm forever jealous. I've worked with some character actors in like retreats and stuff like that. And just, it's so fascinating to see you do your craft when it's done to that level. It's amazing. So I am always interested in hearing more about it. So, but we got to wrap this thing up. I'm running long. So we thank you, sir. And people can find you. Best place to go to the website?
Yep, absolutely. Spikespencer.com. That's the hub of everything. Or look for the Mind Scrambler podcast, obviously on iTunes and elsewhere. Those are the two best places to find me, or on Twitter.
All right.
Easy peasy.
I like it. Well, thank you, sir. We'll check in with you down the road to see what's happened and see where we find you. It'd be like, where in the world is Spike Spencer, huh?
That's the way it's going to be, man. That's the way we planned it.
I'm jealous. Thank you, sir.
Got it.
That's it. That's the end.
That's a wrap.
Read the shtick.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends. If you'd like to reach out, you can use the studio line at 612-504-6500 or by email, thedkprojectpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, there's always social media at the DK Project Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.